Okay, so let us come back to where we left. Now, there are two possibilities, like I said, where Ni is not equal to n or when Ni is not equal to n. So, let us first look at when Ni is not equal to n. You would see that x Frankel pair, which is the fraction of Frankel pair, which is equal to NFP by n, it will come out to be Ni by n 1 by 2 there is a factor 2 over here, we will come to that why. So, this is minus delta HF formation of Frankel pair by KBT. Actually, the more general form of this equation would be something like this, where NFP is equal to Ni times n to the power 1 by 2. Oh sorry, I have missed a factor 2 here, it is 2 over here, and I will come to that in a moment. First let me complete this equation. So, this is showing you the number of Frankel pairs, the relation for number of Frankel pairs, which is related to Ni and n. Actually, we will derive this relation later on also. So, I am not going into the details right now. You will be able to see when we come to this equation from defect equilibria as a treating defect as a reaction. Over there, you would be able to directly see how the two how this comes to when Ni is not equal to n. Now, in this particular case, if you make Ni equal to n, so far we have assumed Ni is not equal to n. Now, if you make Ni equal to n, this will become NFP by n equal to EXP So, you see what is the difference when you have Ni not equal to n, these are the two relations for that, and when Ni is equal to n, then this is how the relation looks like. There is a Ni term when Ni is not equal to n, which is obvious, but what is another thing that you need to see, that is apart from Ni, the relation between Ni and n, is this factor 2. So, we see a factor 2 over here. And why does this factor 2 arise over here? This factor arises because when we are saying NFP, we mean one pair, which means one vacancy plus one interstitial. So, delta HF actually represents here the formation of vacancy plus delta HF formation of interstitial, not directly in this relation, but this is just to show that this is delta H Frankel pair is the formation of one vacancy plus one interstitial. So, this is the average of those two values, which is represented by the delta HF Frankel pair by 2, and that is where this factor 2 is arising from. So, you have two defects being generated, one pair being generated, and which is represented by this equation. Earlier we had only one defect arising, or the relation was describing about one defect, and again like I said, when we go to defect reaction, from there we will again derive this relation, and you will see more meaning to these terms. So, this was Frankel defect. Now, let us move on to another kind of ionic defect, which is Schottky defect. Again, let us start with a simple schematic. So, what is a Schottky defect? Even before I go to the schematic, Schottky defect is when you have pair of vacancies. pair of vacancies not at just any place, but at cation and anion sites. So, there should be missing pair of atoms, one atom missing from cation site, another pair missing from anion site. So, for example, again since we are talking about ionic solids, so we will have something like this, and again like I said, I will have to draw equal number of cations and anions. Now, let us take away one atom from over here, one cation from somewhere over here. So, let us say I take away this cation and this becomes a vacancy. Now, let us take away another anion from somewhere and this becomes a vacancy. So, this is a vacancy at minus or anion site, this is a vacancy at cation site. Now, this pair is termed as Schottky defect. So, you have to have a vacancy at cation and vacancy at anion. So, now that we know what is a Schottky defect, we can very easily formulate the relation, the equilibrium concentration for this. Again, like in the Frankel defect, we know that W total is equal to W cation vacancy plus W anion vacancy. So, these are subscript CV and this is subscript AV, and this would imply that delta S configuration which is equal to KB ln W. So, the derivations are very similar, the only thing is what will be the exact values of W over here. Since both of them are vacancies, so you would see that this is in fact a little bit simpler compared to Frankel defect, and you will get so like I said, you can either multiply it. So, inside this log term these are both multiplied and there is meaning to it because they are currently they are exactly same relation, but in the Frankel defect these two terms were different here. So, one of them is representing cation vacancy, this another one is representing anion vacancy. Over there one of them was representing cation vacancy and the other was representing cation interstitial. So, instead of n we had n number of interstitial sites and over here. So, this part becomes 2. So, this becomes 2 KB ln and therefore, if we look at the number of cation vacancies by n, which will be equal to anion vacancies which will be divided by n, which will be equal to x Schottky, it will be equal to, or we can call it as n by n. It can be written like exp delta S f by KB exp. So, there is a 2 over here minus delta HF Schottky by 2 KBT. So, just like in the previous Frankel defect, when we were describing the Frankel defect, there is again a factor 2 over here and that factor 2 represents generation of pair of vacancies. So, delta HF can be looked at as delta HF cation vacancies plus delta HF anion vacancies, and therefore, this is nothing but average of these two quantities and therefore, you get this term by 2. So, in all other ways this relation is similar to the one that we derived for Frankel. Over there we had n as n interstitial, but here we do not have the problem of n interstitial. So, in that sense it becomes much more simpler. And again you would see that these derivations would become much more meaningful when we look at them from the point of view of defect reaction. Now, so far all the defects that we have talked about are intrinsic, meaning they are for pure materials, whether they are a compound, whether they are pure material, but they are the defects are being created by those elements from themselves. So, those are called intrinsic defects. So far we have discussed only intrinsic defects, all above defects. Now, what we need to go where we move on is to extrinsic defects. What are extrinsic defects? When you have some foreign atom involved in it. Or impurity. Now, impurity can be in the form, again when we are talking about impurity, there are few things to note. We are talking about a very small concentration. Okay. We are not increasing this concentration to the extent that we have to discuss about solid solubility. We are much below that limit, and that is something that we have to remember whenever we are talking about impurity. So, for example, carbon in Fe will not be really an impurity because it is forming an alloy, it is a solution, it is in a much larger quantity. We are talking about something, let us say if we are talking about a very small fraction like in copper in nickel. Even carbon in Fe, carbon in iron can be considered if we are talking about a very small fraction of carbon in iron. Okay, so, now here this foreign atom or impurity can be in two different forms. This impurity can be classified in two different ways. Basically, there are two different ways this impurity can get embedded. One is by forming interstitial, or it goes into a interstitial site. Other, it substitutes one of the original atoms. So, this will be called a interstitial defect, this will be called a substitutional defect. So, again now that we have talked about it, let me show you what the schematic of it would look like. So, let us say this is one particular type of matrix, the original material, and an impurity gets embedded into it. So, this is the impurity. So, this is another kind of atom. Now, this is sitting at, as you can see, in the lattice site. So, this will be called substitutional. Impurity. What will be the other kind? Like we said, interstitial. So, for example, let us say another this B atom, which is not the host atom, is sitting somewhere over here. So, this is not a lattice site. So, in this case it will be called a interstitial impurity. So, these are the two different kinds of defects that you can see when you have a foreign atom. It can either be in the interstitial site or it can be in the substitutional site. So, let us look at some of the characteristics for interstitial. Although the way I have drawn it, it looks like there is sufficient space, but as you know, in reality the atoms would be much closer by, and therefore, the interstitial sites, there are several kind of interstitial sites like tetrahedral sites, octahedral sites, and the position at the size available over there is very small compared to the atom sites. So, that is why these are not the regular position, or these are not the places where actually you find atoms, but some of the atoms which are smaller in size can go in and they like to stay in those places, that they prefer the interstitial site. So, in terms of number of sites where the interstitial can go, since it is all empty, so easy to find site. So, that is one advantage. If you are looking, if you are interstitial atom looking for a site, then you know that there are several, because all of them are almost open. So, easy to find site. If you want to migrate from one place to another, so you say okay, that is the place where there is less energy, then you know that all the other for migration you need to jump and you need vacancies around. So, in effect all other sites are vacant for you. So, easy to glide or easy to move. However, like I said, the position over here, the size over here is very small. Therefore, fitting is very difficult. And whenever there will be atom over here in the interstitial, the atoms around it, the host atoms, they will get displaced from their position, and because of this, and this displacement would be really very large in value, something like 10%, 20%, some very large strains. So, very large strains exist when we are talking about interstitial impurity. We will come back to interstitial. Now, let us move to another defect that we called substitutional. So, what is the substitutional? That we have already seen that, but let me show you how this will also lead to strain in the system. But before that, let us look at some of the characteristics like we compared for the interstitial. So, here number of sites is not easy to find compared to the interstitial. In fact, it will be much better if I redraw one of these with a more realistic system. So, you have I have left this place because I want to add a different atom. Let us say this is large atom. So, this is when you have a larger substitutional atom. The other case can be, it is not that only larger atoms will create a strain, even the smaller one can create a strain. So, let us say we have a smaller atom over here, something like this. So, this will enforce other atoms to relax, not relax, basically move and take that extra space, and this itself will also cause strain in the matrix. What we are seeing is here that there are strains like this which are compressive in nature. So, it is compressing all the atoms around it. Over here the strains are tensile in nature, the atoms are getting pulled apart. So, over here we have tensile stresses, over here we have compressive stresses. Stresses is one thing, the other thing that we need to look over here is that how these atoms find site for them. So, now like I said, this is one of the substitutional atom. So, let us say there is still another atom on the edge which wants to move over inside the system or over here. Now, as you can see that one of these atoms will have to be displaced. So, it is not so easy for it to find a site, and that is what I have written over here, that it is not easy to find sites. So, number of sites is not easy to find where these atoms can substitute. Once they are in, let us say by one way or the other they are able to find a site. Now, it let us say wants to move to somewhere over here, again that is not so easy, for that it wants vacancies. So, movement is also not easy. What you need are vacancies, and vacancies are not, and vacancies are a very small fraction. So, the probability of finding a vacancy is very small. The only thing advantage compared to interstitial is that easier to fit. Okay. It is easier to fit, however, there are still compressive and tensile stresses. So, this is the direct comparison of substitutional impurity compared to the interstitial. So, the first two factors that we discussed in interstitial, it was easier, finding the site is easier, all the sites are vacant in a way, movement is easier because all the sites are vacancies. On the other hand, for substitutional, finding a site is not easy, all the sites are occupied by the host atom. Movement is not easy because this, for movement it needs vacancies, and vacancy concentration are very small almost always. On the other hand, the third factor, which is fitting. So, for interstitial, fitting is very problematic because we are talking about a very small volume or space inside the lattice. So, over there fitting is much more difficult, and there are very large strains. Over here fitting is not that big a problem, it is much easier to fit, however, it does not mean that it will not create stresses in the matrix. It will still create compressive stresses and tensile stresses depending on whether you are substituting with a larger atom or a smaller atom. Now, when we are now that we have looked at substitutional, now let us look at how this equilibrium concentration would look like. So, again what I will need to do is to first try to find what will be the form or how this formation energy will be related to the atoms and the bonds. Again we will go back to our broken bond models. You remember we have used broken bond model. So, what you see over here is that, so let us just zoom into this region. So, let us say we have this extra atom which is the B atom, and the host is the A atom. So, A atom is host and B is the impurity. Now, what will be the formation energy of this? This would be directly related to how many bonds have been broken for the original atom if it were there, and how many new bonds have been formed when this impurity B atom has been put there. So, it will be equal to whatever is the, depending on the crystal structure, there will be n number of nearest neighbors. So, there let us say this is the n, this n will be n times what will the difference between HAA, which is the bonding energy between same type of atom which were originally present, minus the bond, the energy that has been released by formation of impurity atom. So, HAA minus HAB. So, this delta H formation would be related to the difference in the bonding energy between these two. If you remember that for vacancy also we said that the formation energy would be related to the number of broken bonds. Here the bonds are broken, but they are also getting replaced by another substitute atom. So, that is represented by this HAB. So, what is HAA? It is self bonds, meaning between AA atoms, AB is between host and foreign bond, host and foreign atom. So, B impurity in A, how will we find the equilibrium concentration? So, x B equilibrium using our same old formulation, we can write it like this, delta S f So, it will not be very different, again it is something similar, only how you find delta Hf, and then the entropy and other terms would remain similar, because just like in vacancies, this is substitutional atom will also be able to provide or different ways of arrangement. So, in that term configurational entropy equation would be similar, although the values might be different, and therefore, the final form of the equation, as you can see, is very similar to that what we found for vacancies. Now, here, so there can be some interesting information that we can obtain. Let us say we are talking about an ideal solution, where HAA is equal to HAB equal to HBB. Then how would this plot look like? The delta G, delta H and T delta S term. So, let us say on the x axis we have x B, which is equal to 1 minus x A. So, you are going from pure A to pure B. So, initially we are talking about impurity in B. So, we are somewhere over here. Now, since HAA is equal to HAB, if you go back, what you see is that when HAA is equal to HAB, then delta H formation would be equal to approximately 0, and therefore, the delta H term would be equal to delta, this will be the delta H formation, which is almost 0. So, it remains constant. Now, the other term, which is the minus T delta S, which will dominate the G term, it would look something like this. So, we have a relation, or we have the plot for minus T delta S, and this will be, if we are assuming HA equal to HAB, then this will be this will be minima at XB equal to 0.5, and this will also be the equation or plot for delta G. So, this is how delta G would look like for in the condition of ideal solution. However, like we said, we should not extrapolate these to very large concentration. You remember, we are talking about defect, and for that we have already made an assumption that concentration is very small. So, we must keep this value very small and not consider the larger values. So, we will come back to this, and we will also look for another, we look at other situations, particularly non-ideal situation. In fact, I would suggest that you look at it and see how it will vary. So, I will leave you at that, and we will come back in the next lecture.